We've been hearing a lot about unified commerce. Welcome, everyone. What is your take on unified commerce?
It seems that nearly everybody in the retail world is talking about unified commerce currently. The consulting company Boston Retail Partners released a study that stated that 73% of retailers are planning to introduce unified commerce platforms by end of 2019. 2 out of 3 stated that they believe that unified commerce will help them improve revenue, brand value, and margin. But you asked, what is this? So let me explain that by taking you a little bit back in history. When the traditional brick-and-mortar retailers started to introduce the e-commerce platforms, they did that as a separate new sales channel. That means that the offline and the online sales channel were separated and treated as own organizations that did not have much interaction in between. So it could happen that on a web shop or in a store you found different assortment. This means different items in the assortment. The customers were treated on different channels and you could find different prices, different discounts and different promotions. So from a customer's perspective, you knew that this is one company. But when you approach this with the 2 different sales channels, it appeared to you that those were 2 separate retailers with different brands. This was called the multi-channel retailing. And a lot of companies are still there. They are still stuck in that retailing. The next phase in evolution was omni-channel retailing. Here the retailers tried to break down the fences and to combine the online channel with the offline channel. What they did, they still kept their different solutions, software solutions for stores, e-commerce and mobile, but they built bridges, integrations in between those solutions. So this enabled them to communicate in one way with the customers. For the customers, they had the feeling that now the retailer is talking with one voice to them. And this was a huge improvement. But the retailers had some challenges because they still had those separate solutions and data was stored separately. So there was no single source of truth. And the modern customer that is demanding and wants to have information just in time, those modern customers create the challenges because omni-channel retailers face this challenge to provide this information just in time. And this is the reason why unified commerce evolved from that. In unified commerce, the customer experience is in the center of everything. It's a priority number 1. In all customer touch points, we need to have a single, central, and just-in-time platform to provide this perfect experience. What does that mean? For a customer, he wants to see stock availability, his basket, his sales history, prices, loyalty points, immediately, just in time, regardless of which solution he's using. And this is what unified commerce is aiming to provide to the customers.
That is the best explanation I've heard. That's great. So what is the additional benefit of unified commerce?
Well, first of all, LS Retail has always provided an end-to-end solution. So we've been ready for unified commerce for quite some time now. But as Martin was pointing out, unified commerce really gives you a single view of the customer. You have the same promotion, you have the same prices across channels, you have a centralized transaction registry that allows you to do things like, say, shop online and return in store, for example. And this all cost a lot of money to maintain these integrations in the past because you are moving data between a lot of systems. But unified commerce sort of unifies all of these processes into one single backend solution that allows you to save a lot of money on integrations. And I can give you an example on integration costs because we met a client, an unnamed client, so many years ago, a big company with millions of dollars in IT budget, and they were spending 80% of this millions of dollars of IT only on managing integrations between different systems. And this is the problem that unified commerce helps solve.
Saving a lot of money also.
Yes.
And that would be important, Matti, wouldn't it?
Yes, cost saving is a very important part of retail.
But are there any complications in implementing unified commerce?
Well, with unified commerce, we have the entire channel inventory available to customers. So that means that inventory management and replenishment is top priority. This means that a replenishment solution has to be fully integrated, and it needs to focus on avoiding out-of-stock situations and in optimizing the stock so that there is a given availability for the customers. This means we need a proper assortment planning. We need improved budget and open-to-buy management. We need to have automatic replenishment that raises exceptions if something is not working properly. LS Retail invested a lot of time and effort in improving the replenishment solution, and I think we are ready for unified commerce.
How does that affect the customer?
We have been talking about customer as the center. Today's customer expects to control when and where and how they do their purchasing. They also want to decide if they want to collect the items at the store or have it shipped to a specific location. With customer orders, we have the ability to offer this in all channels. For example, customer going to an e-commerce site, placing the order, or even visiting a store where the store staff enters the order on a mobile or stationary device and even finalizes it on that same device, or suspends it and then it's picked up by another mobile device or a stationary POS, or even from the vendor. Mm-hmm. Customer order allows the retailer to provide superior customer service, which translates into a happy customer.
What about the POS? How is that affected by all of this?
The POS is a key factor in today's retail, and therefore important part of unified commerce. POS hardware has gone through drastic changes through the years, going from a large stationary terminal to smaller stationary terminals to hybrids, and even down now to small mobile devices, for example, phone size. Mm-hmm. Stationary POS still needs a dedicated location in the store. However, we have hybrid devices that can change into mobile multifunction purpose devices. Some of the newest mobile devices offer all built in one, meaning that printer, dedicated barcode scanner, and even a EFT terminal all built into the same device, allowing the staff to finalize card transaction at location. Our newest POS is based on a web browser interface, which allows us to utilize and design newest cloud technology. This allows us to be hardware independent and run our POS on off-the-shelf devices from Apple, Android, or Windows. We connect to peripheral devices with a hardware station. The hardware station offers an API interface that can connect to LS Pay or any third-party EFT solution. Our new release of clienteling functionality allows the staff to communicate to the customer with a familiar e-commerce-like interface, introducing to them the product offering, product information, availability, images, and even compares function and features. Then they can enter the order, finalize it, or suspend it to be picked up at another mobile device or stationary, or even create a customer order that can then be collected by the customer at a different location or to be shipped to the customer.
We hear a lot about cloud offerings today. Is that a part of LS Nav offering?
Definitely. I mean, the cloud can bring so many advantages, which I think we're all aware of. Things like speed of deployment, number one, scalability. You can scale up and down depending on the usage you're requesting at any given time. And last but not least, the lower cost of ownership, because you're basically not buying up a lot of hardware to use for your internal services. So yeah, I would say cloud is definitely on the LS retail roadmap.
When will LS Nav be available in the cloud?
Well, it's a good question, because earlier this month, Microsoft released the cloud version of Business Central. That's a new word for, or new brand name for Microsoft Dynamics in the cloud. So later this year, ISVs like LS Retail will get a version that will allow us to deploy our solutions in the cloud. So coming this fall, we'll basically have two products. One of them, the Business Central version running in the cloud, and the second one, the version based on LS 2018 R2, which will be available on premise. Right. So you're probably asking what will be the differences between those two versions. From a usage point of view, they will be minimal. We're basically taking the existing 2018 solution and uplifting that to the cloud, which basically means that the tables will be the same, the user interface will be the same reports will be there. Everything that you used to know about LS Nav will be present in the cloud solution. However, there are two differences that are worth pointing out. The first is the technical environment, which is relevant for developers and consultants, because the cloud puts some restrictions on what kind of customizations you can do. And one of them is that you have to go through what we call the extensibility framework, which is developed using new tooling based on Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So with the cloud version, you have to use Visual Studio Code, but if you're using the on-prem version, you can use the classical development tools like many of our partners have been doing for many years now, and they should be quite familiar with. The second difference is the pricing, because the cloud version will only be available on subscription basis. But if you want to go with sort of perpetual licensing, then the on-premise solution is the way to go.
Does this mean that LS Nav will only be available in the cloud in the future?
No, absolutely not. We are committed to support both versions, in the cloud and on-premise, for the foreseeable future.
It's important to notice that Microsoft is releasing their cloud solution in 14 countries. LS Retail has partners in 80 countries and customers in 130 countries. So obviously we're not going to abandon our partners and our customers. And just to show you the commitment we have, we will be adding new features to our 2018 solution until the end of the year 2019. That's a year and a half from now. But the question is, what should you do as a customer and a partner? We're basically saying, if you are happy with your current on-premise business, then nothing will change. You can continue to sell that. We will continue to support you in that. You can continue to add to your licenses. Basically, it's business as usual. If you're interested in cloud, we are also giving you that an option as well. And if you're interested in mixing those two solutions together, then we have the hybrid plan.
So simply, the customer can select what fits best to their business.